What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today is going to be a great milestone for the Lightning build because we are finally going to put our hands on the built 2JZGTE non-VVTi that R&W Race Engines has built for the Bolt JZ. And it's been a long time coming because, as most of you know, the unfortunate circumstances that happened with the Lightning right after I bought it in early 2023. I then went back to the drawing board to figure out what swap I wanted to do in it, and the final decision was the 2JZ, which I bought a brand new block and bare head from Toyota directly and dropped off at R&W Race Engines in sometime mid-2023. So here we are in the beginning of 2024, finally taking possession of this, and thank you, Ron, for building another awesome engine as he built my RB26 in the R32 GTR that you guys followed previously. And he's a solo guy, so it took a little bit. He's got plenty of work to do, so no fault of his own, and I know that he did a phenomenal job with it. Again, kind of a backstory, I did overbuild this thing. I never really thought I was going to go this route. Thought I was just going to slap together the OEM bottom end that I bought from Toyota, which had pistons, rods, crank, all that, and just build a head for it and run it as is. But, you know, of course we don't do that here. And now we got a, 1500 horsepower capable 2JZ. I'm not going to run it at that, but I do have parts back here that are majority of the hard parts to the 2JZ, but we are not going to put those on just yet because I need to order some exhaust and intake manifold gaskets, valve cover gaskets, and oil pan gasket before I can slap everything on permanently, and it's going to look like a 100% road ready 2JZ. So let's trip it to Chris's house, as that's where John is going to meet us to drop off the 2J. And thank you to him so much for doing that, because R&W Race Engines is pretty close to his house, so he offered to pick up the engine and meet me at Chris's, because it's going to live there for a few months until we can get the truck there. We're going to fab up engine and trans mounts so we can actually get the engine and trans sitting permanently in the truck, and then it's going to be real, guys. It's going to be real. So 2024, here we come, and let's journey to Chris's house. So here we have it. The 2JZ is now on the engine stand. Thank you to John for bringing it over to Chris's house. And now we can finally get things mocked up. I have to still order gaskets for the exhaust manifold and intake manifold. And then we're gonna have to lube up everything up top once the valve covers do get in. But I do need valve cover gaskets, intake and exhaust manifold gaskets, an oil pan gasket, some odds and ends to get everything in. But we're going to put all the studs in and mock up the fitment, get the turbo manifold and intake manifold on, and the turbo set up just so we can see how it looks. And thank you, FMZ, Freedom Motorsports, for the billet front plate. So we're not going to do traditional engine mounts in the truck. We're going to do the front motor plate. Then we're going to figure out what we're going to do. We're probably going to do some sort of mid plate and then the trans mount to have it all secured. Got the Speed Factory titanium exhaust manifold stud kit, just a little bit of blue thread locker, and get all 12 of those in there. For the intake manifold, we have the same Speed Factory titanium hardware, and we got the exhaust side on, which I'll show you here shortly, but we're gonna get these on so we get the MCC loyalty intake manifold on. Well, here it is. We got everything mounted up. The G42 1200, the MCC loyalty intake manifold, and again, the Artec T4 twin scroll. So we're gonna have 2 gates running out here. I'm just gonna debate on which gates I'm gonna go with, and then have Chris or our buddy fabricate the dump tubes, and that's going to be the exhaust, the intercooler piping, and everything else for the engine. But I'm still going to wait for the valve cover gaskets, oil pan gasket. These actually came O-ringed already, so I don't need an intake manifold gasket, but I do need the exhaust manifold gasket. So everything is just mocked up right now. We'll end up taking it off, and I have some research to do for some other parts. The MCC intake manifold actually came with a fuel rail, and I'm going to be running ID 2600s, which are en route to the house, and then I'll have those mocked up as well. I'm going to do an oil filter relocation at some point once we get everything situated with the engine, and it's looking good. But this FMZ billet front plate looks really good. And then we're going to have to run an external fitting here for water. And I just need to research to see where some other things sit, because again, it's going in a truck that it doesn't belong in. So we're gonna have to see what we can fit and what we can't fit. But being that it had a 5.4 in the truck before, it should fit nice and snug. There you have it, folks. The 2JZ is back in our hands, and I am super excited, to say the least. All the parts that I had stacked up for a little bit are now mocked up on the 2J. Some of it's gonna come off because the exhaust side, I don't have a gasket for the manifold yet. The intake side actually had O-rings that came with the intake manifold from MCC, so that is on there. We need an oil pan gasket, valve cover gaskets. The valve covers have to arrive too, so do the injectors. So there's still a few things that we need to button up before we can actually say that the long block is 100% assembled. But just looking at the footage in this video goes to show you that that 2J is going to look beautiful in the Lightning. And like I said, excited is an understatement. It's just a long time coming to have this 2J long block back in our hands and in the garage, so we can start working and making our minor detail changes on it. So if you are looking forward to the 2JZ Lightning content, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, because there will be more of this to come. This is just the beginning for the build, and I just want to share it all with you so you guys can see what a unique build this is. Thank you, John, for transporting the 2J to Chris's house. Chris and I sat down a little bit after we mocked up the parts to go over about some unique changes to the build that we thought about just while putting it together today. So it's going to be different, and it's going to be awesome. So again, please like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next upload. Peace.